My wife secretly used my money to fund her boyfriend's lifestyle, was even planning to divorce me and settle with him. So, I liquidated all the assets, emptied our bank accounts, and disappeared. I'm 36, male, Indian-born, and I moved to the US about 12 years ago, fresh out of college with a degree in computer science. I had landed a job at one of those trillion-dollar tech firms, the kind that everyone dreams of getting into. Let's just say I was living the Silicon Valley dream, with all the perks and paychecks to match. I wasn't just comfortable, I was living in luxury. After almost a decade of grinding at the company, I'd built myself a nice little nest egg. A few $1 million, mostly from stock options and some smart investments, gave me the freedom to quit the rat race. I started freelancing, helping startups build their software from scratch. Life was supposed to be simpler now, more relaxed. Except, I had no idea what was waiting for me at home. I'd been married to M for 6 years. We met in the US, clicked fast, and like any young couple, we went through the highs and lows. At first, it was good, really good, in fact. But over the years, M changed. Or maybe she was always like this, and I just didn't see it. She became entitled, always wanting more. It started with little things, fancier dinners, bigger vacations, but it became a pattern. No matter how much we had, it was never enough for her. I was busy working, so I let a lot of it slide. I thought she'll grow out of it. We all want things when we're younger. But looking back, I should have seen the writing on the wall. M was never satisfied with me, our life, or our marriage, and that's how the cracks started to show. It was a random Tuesday, when my life started to unravel. I was at home, working on a software project for a startup when I got a call from R, my best friend. He was the only person in the US I trusted completely. We'd known each other since college and had been through everything together. "Hey man, I'm at this bar downtown and I think I just saw M with some guy," R said, his voice cautious. At first, I thought I'd misheard him. "Wait, what? Are you sure?" I asked, my fingers freezing on my keyboard. "Yeah, it's her," R said, his voice sounding more certain. "They're close, real close, definitely not just friends. I'm taking some pictures." I felt a pit open in my stomach. I didn't want to believe it. I mean, M had told me she was out with the girls, but why would R lie? He had nothing to gain from this, and we'd been like brothers for years. "I'm on my way," I said, grabbing my keys. The drive to the bar was a blur of thoughts. My mind was racing. Was this really happening? Was my wife cheating on me? I kept trying to convince myself that there was some reasonable explanation, but deep down, I knew better. By the time I got there, M was gone. R was waiting outside the bar, his face grim. "She left a few minutes ago," he said, handing me his phone. I stared at the screen. There was M, sitting at the bar, leaning into some guy, laughing, touching his arm. They were too close for comfort. She didn't look like a woman just out with a friend, looked like she was with someone she had feelings for. "Who the fuck is that?" I asked, my voice tight. "I don't know," R said, shaking his head. "But it's clear what's going on." I didn't say anything, just kept staring at the photos. A part of me wanted to explode, to confront her right then and there, but another part of me knew I needed to stay calm. This was bigger than just a fling. This was betrayal. Months of lies, probably. She was playing me for a fool. "Thanks, man," I muttered to R, my hands shaking as I handed back his phone. I couldn't process it. I needed to think, needed to figure out what the hell I was going to do. The next morning, I hired a private investigator. I wasn't going to confront M without knowing exactly what I was dealing with. I wanted all the details. I needed to know how far this had gone, how long it had been happening, and who the guy was. The PI was discreet, professional, and thorough. A week later, he handed me a full report. Turns out, M had been seeing this guy, her high school boyfriend no less, for months. They'd reconnected over social media, started meeting up secretly. It wasn't just dinners or drinks either. There were hotel rooms, overnight stays, text messages that made me sick to my stomach. The investigator's report wasn't just about her affair. It detailed something far more infuriating. M had been using our joint accounts, my money, to fund her boyfriend's lifestyle. Expensive dinners, hotel rooms, even buying him gifts. My hard-earned money from years of working in Silicon Valley, sleepless nights, stock investments, was being used to bankroll this loser who couldn't even hold down a decent job. The guy wasn't just a fling, He was freeloading off my success, and M was happy to play along. I stared at the evidence. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, it was theft. She'd been bleeding me dry behind my back to keep this guy happy, all while pretending everything was fine between us. All that time, I had been here, busting my ass to give us the life we had. I had trusted her. And she was out there reliving her high school days with some loser who had never moved on. I sat in my office that night, staring at the photos the PI had sent. There they were, walking hand in hand, kissing, looking like a couple of teenagers. Except this wasn't some stupid teenage fling. This was my wife, my life, my future. I wanted to tear everything apart. I wanted to scream at her, confront her, and demand answers. But what would that do? I knew how divorce worked in this country. I had worked too damn hard for everything I had, and I wasn't going to let her walk away with half of it just because she decided to screw around behind my back. So, I called my lawyer. I needed to know exactly what I was up against. You've been married for long enough that she's entitled to a significant portion of your assets, the lawyer said, matter-of-factly. Cheating doesn't change that, unfortunately. You could lose half of your savings, the house, the vacation property. Pretty much everything is on the table. I sat there in silence, my blood boiling. All of that gone to her? After she betrayed me? No way. I wasn't going to let her win like that. I needed a plan. Something that would let me walk away without losing everything I'd worked for. And that's when the idea hit me. I'd been thinking about going back to India for a while now. After spending over a decade in the fast-paced, chaotic world of Silicon Valley, I was starting to feel burnt out. The endless hustle, the constant noise, it was all too much. The dream of making it big in the US was real, but it came with a cost. I missed the quiet life, the simplicity of home. I missed my parents, who still lived in a small hill station town in India. I hadn't spent much time with them since I moved abroad. And lately, I'd been feeling like I wanted to go back, leave this chaotic world behind, and live in peace. That's when I knew what I had to do. I told Em that the house needed some major renovations, plumbing issues, electrical work. I made it sound like it was going to take at least 3 months. She bought it. When I suggested we move into an apartment temporarily, she pushed back a little, saying we should stay at our vacation home instead. But I convinced her it was better to stay in the apartment. It was closer to her work, closer to her friends. She relented eventually, too distracted by whatever she had going on with her boyfriend to really argue. Once we were settled in the apartment, I started moving fast. I completed my remaining freelance projects and even outsourced some to other freelancers. I sold the house, sold the vacation home, and quietly liquidated every asset I could. Stocks, cars, bank accounts, everything. I left $1,000 in the joint account. So she didn't run out of money and started digging into accounts before I left. I moved the remaining money into offshore accounts she had no access to. She didn't even notice. She was too busy with her girls' nights, which I knew damn well were her meets with her boyfriend. Then, one night, she told me she was going out again. Another girls' night. I knew it was a lie, but I didn't care anymore. It was exactly what I needed. Once she was out the door, I put my plan into action. I grabbed the essentials, passport, cash, a few important documents, and my laptop. Everything else was already packed. R had helped me arrange everything. He'd been the only person I trusted through all of this, and he'd helped me disappear. I took one last look around the apartment, feeling strangely calm. I wasn't leaving in a rush or in anger. This was calculated. This was my escape. I slipped out quietly, got into the car R had arranged for me, and headed straight to the airport. By the time Em would come home, I'd be halfway across the world. The flight to India felt surreal. I wasn't just leaving Em, I was leaving behind everything I'd built in the US. But weirdly, I felt relief. The weight of the past year, the lies, the betrayal, the constant manipulation was gone. I was free. I was going home. When I landed, I headed straight to the hill station town where my parents lived. It was quiet, peaceful, nestled in the mountains, far from the noise of the big cities. This was where I belonged. Not in some chaotic, high-stakes world of tech and corporate drama, but here where life moved at a slower, more meaningful pace. I took a deep breath, feeling more free than I had in years. R kept me updated. A week after I left, Em figured out something was wrong. She came home to the apartment and everything was gone. The place was empty. No note, no explanation. She called R in a panic, asking if he knew where I was. Of course, he played dumb. She's losing her mind, R told me over text. She has no idea what's going on. A few days later, she tried to access our joint accounts, only to find them empty. Then she tried to go back to the house. That was sold too. Same with the vacation home. Everything was gone. She's freaking out, man, R texted. Filed a missing persons report and everything. But you're not missing. You left. I laughed when I read that. She was panicking, and I was sipping tea, overlooking the hills, thousands of miles away. She had no idea how to find me, and even if she did, she wouldn't get a damn thing from me. Over the next few weeks, R kept feeding me updates. M was scrambling, trying to piece her life back together. She didn't even know the full extent of it yet, that I had sold everything, moved all the money out of her reach. Then one day, R sent me this. She knows about the affair. She called me, crying, saying she made a mistake, that she fucked up and wants to talk to you. I stared at the message, feeling nothing. I had expected some kind of emotion, anger maybe, or satisfaction, but there was just nothing. She was too late. She'd already destroyed everything. Let her cry, I texted back. I'm done. And that was it. I didn't need closure. I didn't need her apologies or excuses. I was gone, and I wasn't coming back. Now I wake up every day in the quiet of my hill station home, living on my own terms. No more lies, no more manipulation. I'm free. Update. A few months had passed since I disappeared to India. Life here, surrounded by the hills and the quiet, was everything I needed. The fast-paced life of Silicon Valley and M felt like a distant memory. Only R knew where I was, and he'd call from time to check in. One afternoon, as I sat sipping tea, R called. Yo, man, how's the monk life treating you? He joked. Peaceful. No drama, just the mountains. It's good, I replied. R chuckled. Well, speaking of drama, I've got some news. Your ex, M, she's working at a pizza place now. I nearly dropped my cup. Wait, what? Yeah, her boyfriend dumped her as soon as the money dried up. She's been trying to find a job and ended up flipping pizzas. Can't make rent either. I leaned back, letting it sink in. M, the woman who used to spend my money like it was endless, was now barely scraping by. She really hit rock bottom, huh? I said, feeling a strange sense of satisfaction. Big time. She's even tried reaching out to old friends, but no one's helping her, R added. She's on her own now. I shook my head. She made her choices, man. Not my problem anymore. Exactly, R said. I knew you wouldn't care, but figured you'd appreciate the irony. I do, I said, smirking. Thanks for the update, but I'm done with all that. I've got my piece now. Good for you, man. You deserve it, R said. Take care. We hung up, and I looked out over the quiet hills. M was struggling, but that chapter was closed for me. I'd moved on. And if you're still here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, this peaceful life is way better than dealing with entitled exes.